Principle number 3. Now, you all know this, and if you have not heard this, have you been living under a rock? Because we all know by now that ensuring you have the right daily amount of protein. Now, that is protein that is correctively sourced as well. Protein is made up of amino acids that when the body breaks down the protein into those amino acids, your muscles become stronger and you can build more tissue. So if you're not having protein but you're going to the gym, what's happening is you're sending the builders there, but they have no bricks to build with. They have no bricks to build the muscle. So it's fundamental. And I see this all the time. I have a 6-week course where I individually help ladies get the momentum going. And protein is number 1 thing that we talk about in week 1, because if you're not getting enough adequate protein, you're going to the gym and wasting your time. Also, from a hormonal perspective, protein is fundamental for optimal hormonal function. Now, I often get this question about how much protein should I have. I like to work it out by what is your ideal weight in kilograms, and you should get 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. That's your ideal optimal amount of protein intake per day. I'm not someone who's fixated in terms of if I don't hit that protein every day, I'm going to die. No, let's be realistic. It's over a week. Sometimes over a week, depending on where your life is, as long as you're not hitting under 30, 50 grams of protein a day, you're good. We really want to get into the higher numbers, and it depends on your body weight. Did you know this fun fact? The highest source of protein and quality is actually egg whites. Free range organic eggs, take the egg whites, really good, low cal, high source of protein. Bonus tip there. Principle number 4 is sleep and recovery. So this is fundamental. Now, I know it can be tricky because if you're in perimenopause and you're having hot flushes, it can be tricky to get optimal sleep. And this is what I help a lot of females with in my 6-week program, is helping you ensure that you're having optimal sleep. Because if we're not, we're going to be losing muscle, and we need muscle especially as we age, because it becomes harder and harder to build muscle. So there's been a few studies about this, and the study that I've got written down here is they had 2 groups of people, and they want to see how the lack of sleep affects fat loss. So they put them on the same calorie deficit, so to even the variables out. One group slept between 7 and 9 hours. One group slept between 4 and 5 hours, same amount of calories. Both groups had a similar amount of weight. So when the data found that the group that rested at 7 to 8 hours a day, guess what? They had an 80% fat reduction compared to the other group that had 4 to 5 hours. They had the reverse. They actually gained 80% fat. Yeah, just by sleeping well. Tip number 1, go to bed at the same time every single day. Have a routine. Sleep is fundamental for your hormonal health. And if you're struggling with sleep, send me a message, DM me, let's connect. Now, if you're someone there saying, what about REM? What about deep sleep? The honest answer is there's more and more research that is required to understand how much of that will be optimal for hormones. However, we do know that when we are in REM sleep, we know that's how do we improve our cognitive function. That's how our brain goes through the day and goes, right, what information can I use today? What information can I get rid of today? We know that. When you go into deep sleep, think of detoxifying. So what happens is the brain actually shrinks, the spinal cerebral fluid goes up and clears and washes away anything during deep sleep. When you don't have deep sleep, it almost imagine that fluid can't go up, and it almost creates like plaque and toxins in your brain, which has been shown to link to Alzheimer's. Sleep. So let's just do a bit of a recap on the 4 principles that we've just spoken about. Number 1 was daily protein. Number 1, don't get injured. Number 2, weight train. Number 3, protein every single day. Number 4, sleep and optimize hormones. 4 things you can do immediately to start helping you build muscle mass. If you're struggling with any of those 4, you know where I am. Send me a message. Let's connect. Now, we're going to talk about key habits, because this is where a lot of us fall short, and especially women in their 40s. I find that you've been running around after your kids, after your work. You've basically put yourself last. It's that old saying in an airplane, if you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself first, how are you going to survive? You're not going to survive. you are honestly going to struggle more and more. And that's going to make your perimenopause and your menopause harder and harder to go through. Stop suffering, ladies. You don't have to suffer. Put yourself first. Put yourself first, and I promise you, you will then thrive for your kids. You will then thrive for your husband. Most importantly, you'll thrive for yourself, because you are living this life through this body at this stage and make it the best time of your life. You can't do that if you're not putting yourself first. So when we think about, okay, circadian rhythms, we start to think about hormonal patterns, and we all know that cortisol, one of the things I also teach in the 6-week program, cortisol is released an hour before you get up, and then testosterone is actually the highest in the mornings. Now this could suggest, right, Nika, should we be weight training in the morning first thing? There is no research that will fit your lifestyle. The best thing you can do is just try. And how awesome is that? Your body will adapt to whatever you want it to do. So make a decision, stick to it for at least a month, get a coach if you need one, I'm here, and have accountability to ensure that you achieve your goal. So there isn't research to show, even though cortisol spikes in the morning with testosterone, that you should be training in the morning. If you're someone that's like, Nika, I wake up in the morning and I'm like a zombie, I can't even pick up a weight, I can't even get my grip on my weight, don't weight train. Train at 3-4 p.m. when you've had some food and you've allowed your body to get up. The key is make it individual to you. The other question I get asked a lot is, should I fast as a lady in my 40s or not when it comes to weight training? Again, this is completely up to you. Personally, myself, I don't like to eat before I train because I feel sluggish, I feel tired. However, you might say, I actually thrive when I go to the gym and I've eaten. Do it. This is the beauty about your body. Do it. What is key and really a take-home message is, once you've done your resistance training, because we're all doing it, because we're all wanting to build muscle for our health, for our hormonal health, but for our joints later on in life, glad I got that point across, is make sure you eat at least an hour and a half after you have worked out. And what do you need to eat? What was point 3? Protein. Protein after a workout is fundamental. Why? Because your tissues need to repair. All that muscle that you've just trained correctly through mind-muscle connection will then be restored. If you're not, you're putting yourself under a lot of depletion and you're causing stress, anxiety in your body. Don't do it. It's very simple not to do. As we've been through those 4 principles. We're happy with that. So just to go through them again, in case you missed them, get a piece of paper, write them down. Number 1, don't get injured. Number 2, resistance training 3 times a week. Number 3, protein. Number 4, optimal sleep and recovery. Vital. Okay, I want to finish up here on posture, because your daily habits seriously matter. I'm going to give you some exercises here. But first of all, how many of us watch TV like this, on our phones like this? It's been hurting my neck doing it. How many of us sleep on our side in a tucked up position? It's basically sitting down sleeping. We are not evolved to do that. We are evolved, and our bodies are evolved to move, okay? To lift up things. But as you get older, you bend down, you pick up that heavy bag, you don't bend your knees, you don't squat down, you hurt your back. Okay, so corrective posture is fundamental. Now, some of the things I see that are commonly linked to poor posture or poor posture. Shortened hip flexors, okay? Your hip flexors tighten up because you're always sat down, you're always in that position instead of moving and standing. That is linked directly to back pain, not your core, okay? Your core is part of it, but fundamentally, tight hip flexors can cause back pain. The second thing I see is tight chest. So because of this action watching TV, because of this rolled shoulders forward, what happens is your chest contracts, these muscles shorten. What happens? The back muscles lengthen, they lose their stability, which is actually known as double cross syndrome. So we are going to talk about ways you can avoid that, but this is fundamental. If you're not, remember that what I said earlier about if you're not using those brain neural connections, so mind muscle connection, the back muscles will lose their ability to contract, which make it harder and harder and harder. And I see a lot of women that are anxious in their 40s that do this, hunched up shoulders, and then I'll say to them, right, lower your shoulders, and they're like, I am. Okay, right, let's move on to some exercises. So, exercise number 1. Okay, so simple. I've actually got it right here. Every single day, grab a band like this, arms out in front of you, and you're just going to pull, and you're going to contract your back muscles, your rhomboids, and you're going to pull that band apart and start off slowly. You can even just start off with kind of 3 to 4 reps and build up to 10. The key is the consistency. Really simple hack. Number 2, I'm actually going to face this way so you can see the difference in what I'm doing. So if you're on your phone like this, coming forward or typing, a lot of us hunch forward. The first thing you can do is just bring your chin to your chest. Now can you see how just by doing that, my chest came forward, my shoulders came back? Those are 2 simple exercises that you can do straight away right now. In fact, press pause, go and do them. It'll take you 10-20 seconds to do, and the future you will be so grateful. On a final note, I just want to talk about osteoporosis, because you're probably sat there thinking, why are we talking about osteoporosis? Okay, I'm in my 40s. It'll come around sooner than you think. And we have more and more research to show that women that go through perimenopause and menopause actually have a change in their bone mineral density. So you lose bone minerals, in the bone density, quicker in perimenopause. So this is why it's even more fundamental to do what? Resistance train, toe weight train. So I have got some data written down here. Perimenopause, the menopausal women have a total of 1.5% bone density loss per year. Wow. And by the way, that can go over 10, 12 years. That's a lot of bone density loss. Now, in your 60s, it's 0.6. In your 70s, 1.1%. In your 80s, 2.1%. You're going to lose that bone density. So the key thing is to start resistance training as soon as possible. Take those 4 principles and put them into practice. Please don't be one of these people that watches this, listens to this, and then does absolutely nothing about it. Take action. This advice is completely free and it 100% works. We have so much research to show that this works. The only thing stopping you is your daily habits. It's that simple. Additional thoughts here, just on things like vitamin D and calcium. I get a lot of questions as people say to me, what supplements should I be taking? Totally depend on your lifestyle. I'm not going to give you advice on supplements unless I know you, unless I know your lifestyle, because I'm not endorsed and I don't want to be selling you things that I don't know anything about you. That's my personal opinion and that's my approach on it. Thank you so much for listening, by the way. If you have any questions, DM me, send me an email, info@trueselfmastery.com. I am happy to answer any questions. And once you've taken these principles and put them into action, drop me a comment below. Let's talk and let's connect.